Ayman Khan here for Seconds Out with Coach Xavier Miller in Birmingham heading into the box-off tournament. And I know you've had a key role in getting this box-off off the ground. How are we looking heading towards September 16th, and what have you been doing to get it to the point of fight night?
Yeah, I think it's the hard part has been obviously making all the matchups, me and Paul Webb. But we've done a really good job. We've got some really good matchups. It's going to be some excitement, definitely going to be some knockouts. And I'm really looking forward to it. You know, the last couple of weeks is always the hardest. Everyone's come together, Raz, Sol, the whole team. We're doing a good job. It's going to be a great event.
Do you see the opportunity for this to really kind of flourish, considering different types of fight sports are coming through, different types of fight and different types of length of fights are coming through? Do you feel that this short, fast burst of competition is something that really will grasp the attention of the fans who are watching on the night?
I think it's the same as any new idea. You really do need to get the support. If the ticket sales are good, then the investors would be happy to put on an event like this again. If they're not, then it's going to be more difficult. The whole reason why I want to be involved in this tournament is because the fighters they all get a purse, and for that to continue, you've got to get the money in. But yeah, so far so good. The first one's going to be great, but yeah, you've got 4 cities right now, and next year it could be 8. You want it to grow, and I've had direct messages on Instagram saying why isn't Liverpool involved, or Newcastle, and so on and so forth. Of course, we're looking to branch out and do that next year. So, but like I say, the first one's got to be good. Support's got to be there. We need everybody. Telford come out, Birmingham come out in particular, because of where we are. And honestly, the fights itself are going to be exciting, definitely.
So we through some of the fights. One fight that picks my fancy is Kay Jimenez versus Michael Akali, knowing both their backgrounds and what it means to them both to get the victory and succeed in the game. It's going to be a fight where both of them will put it all on the line. But which fights stick out in your minds once to watch?
I think you're right. That one in particular, I didn't know until today that Michael's opponent was actually from the Shoe Fighters gym as well, so there's some history there. But the way they both fight is going to be exciting. Tanya Ledger, really looking forward to her, because obviously this is her hometown. It's expecting all her people to come out. And we've got 2 female fighters on finals on there. So yeah, just like all the fights. If I pick one, looking forward to Robbie Chapman's fight as well. Daryl. All the fights are going to be good. It's all going to be exciting fights. So that's the reason why me and Paul took so long to make these matchups. It wasn't just about going on BoxRec, looking at the records. It was about looking at the fighting styles and trying to make exciting matchups, and that's what we've done.
You feel like Birmingham, the tribe, has got a bit more pressure on its shoulders than Leeds or any other of the fight cities, because Birmingham isn't much of a heralded city than the others, and there's talent coming through now here. Maybe in a few years it will get to back where the big nights were, but really the pressure to perform and succeed on the nights going forward.
I think the pressure's on everybody. We've got 4 excellent ambassadors involved in this tournament, and they're all going to want to win. Nobody wants to lose. Bragging rights, and going forward, obviously, you want to take in champions to the final or to the next round next year. So I think everyone's going to be feel the pressure exactly the same. Everyone's going to want to win, and everyone is going to want to say they're the best or they're the champion. So yeah, I think the pressure's the same for everybody.
We on to a couple of things that we get your thoughts on. First of all, last weekend, heavyweight clash, Usyk versus Dubois. A lot of debate, a lot of controversy around whether it was a legal punch or not. For your eye, was it a legal punch?
It's definitely a legal punch. There's no doubt it was a legal punch. I think Usyk's experience was the key here. He knew what to do at that time to get that rest that he needed. But you boxing people know when you've been hit with a low blow or you've been hit with a legal shot, and it's taken the wind out of you. We know. And he's played that role. He's played that game really well. It looked to me like he wasn't going to be able to get up if he wanted to anyway. He needed the extra time. So he's realised that while he's down, and he stayed down and said, let me play this off as a low blow, get the recovery time I need, and then come back. And he came back and went on to stop him. So yeah, very disappointed for Don in particular, because Don's a very good friend of mine. So I really wanted Don to win a world title here. Wanted Daniel to do well because he's with Don. I don't know Daniel. But yeah, really disappointed watching it live. Couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe they actually even suggested that was a low blow. It wasn't a low blow at all. You can go and watch countless fights, and there was some instructions beforehand. I always make sure I do that. Say to the ref, listen, a lot of these guys, they wear their protective cuff really high, then they pull the shorts up over it. So I always say, is that a legal shot? And if that's a legal shot, during the instruction, then during the fight, you got to continue that. But very disappointed for Don, honestly.
Outside of that moment, a lot of people are suggesting that Usyk's performance was less than stellar, and maybe we're seeing start the decline for Oleksandr Usyk as a heavyweight fighter. Are you seeing that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He looked the same Usyk. I mean, he won the majority of the rounds. I mean, if not nearly all the rounds. It's just a very difficult fighter to figure out. But I'm sure Don and the team knew that going in. They knew that they had to set up the shot they needed to end the fight, and they did that. You can have a 10, 12, 14-week training camp, and you can practice the same move over and over and over again, and you'll get one chance during that fight to execute it. Because Usyk is a very experienced guy. He's defensively sound. He knows how to keep you busy, and they got the opportunity. You can see it's something they've been drilled. They've drilled over and over again that shot they set up, and the fact that he landed it and he didn't get the credit for it's disappointing. But Usyk is special. I said that from when he first moved up to heavyweight. We've had guys before. Michael Moorer. The first southpaw heavyweight, I think it was like years back in the 90s. Evander Holyfield moved up, became an undisputed heavyweight champion. So you have to be careful of these guys coming up because they're so used to fighting guys, in and around their weight. When they move and fight the heavier guys, they've got a speed advantage. So they don't mind fighting bigger guys. And you can see that at times in that fight that, Usyk, is giving him a lot of trouble, with the movement, with the activity, keeping him busy, touching the hands. So yeah, it looked like the same Usyk to me. I still favour Usyk to beat Fury. I think he's technically better than anything that Fury's ever been in with. So I would still favour Usyk, but just disappointed for Don.
A lot of people are a lot more brutal than I am, and I'd never point the finger at a fighter and say you're a quitter, essentially. But a lot of people are fighters in the boxing community are saying that. Could Daniel have answered the count? Could he have continued? Do you feel?
You have to ask that question to him. Only he can answer that question. I don't know how he felt at that time. With Usyk, it looks like more than just a jab. It doesn't look like he's trying to push a power shot through when he's leading with that front hand. So he is looking for the point of the chin. So maybe it affected him worse than what we thought. But I don't know. It's a question you have to ask the fighter.
And just in the heavyweight division, we saw Helenius step in as the opponent for Anthony Joshua, but Helenius has since tested positive for performance-limited substances. Seems like there's a real streak of this happening right now. What do you make of that occurrence?
I think Eddie has made a good point. On the Matchroom shows, he is doing a lot of testing. If you're doing a lot of testing and some of the other promoters or some of the other shows are not doing as much testing, then you're not going to find as many negative tests. You understand what I mean? So I understand where Eddie's coming from. I think it's a good thing that they're testing regularly, and it is what it is,
We spoke before about Dillian. We've touched on. I don't want to go over new ground, but can we expect any words from Dillian in the coming weeks about his position regarding his innocence?
No idea. I don't know. Can't comment on that either.
Okay, fair enough. I'll leave the final with you. We can go back to the box off for people who are interested in the fights on the Fight Night. Where can they find more information about it? What can they expect to see on the nights going forward?
Yeah, we're kind of putting everything right now on Instagram, on the box off. All the ambassadors are reposting. All the teams reposting, and it's just about getting everybody out to a good event. If we get the numbers we need, we can put it on again. It's as simple as that. We don't, then these fighters won't get this kind of opportunity again. And a lot of these fighters are actually making it clear, they're getting a payday and they're getting a chance to be in a tournament of this magnitude, involved with these kind of personalities in boxing: Johnny Nelson's, the Ricky Hattons, Tom Skinner, JK Birmingham. We're here today, so it is a huge opportunity for them to show what they can do. And the only way we can put on something like this again is if we get the ticket sales. So that's what we're looking at the moment.